Hi everyone, it's Fernando back with some sales tips to help you improve your closure rate. But before we go any further, for those new to my channel, a bit about myself. So I'm a sales specialist with over 10 years experience selling to various sectors in various markets. And I've been a part of the entire sales cycle. I like to say I've got a lot to share, but I'll leave that up to you to decide. And if you'd like to know more, do have a look at my LinkedIn profile below. And for today's session, I'll be sharing with you 5 tips of how to ace your presentation. But before that, if you like today's topic, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and you never know, there may be a part 2 of this video. Now let's set the scenario. Let's say you've reached out to a client or prospect and they have expressed interest in hearing more about your solution and have invited you over to present that solution. So from now till then, what do you do in preparation of that? Tip number 1, dress up. I feel the need to remind this because I see as the generations go by, the idea of dressing up gets further and further diluted. Heck, I've seen people meeting the Prime Minister of a country just wearing a t-shirt and jeans. Please, you've got to respect your counterpart. Unless you know that person is going to come underdressed, you are not allowed to underdress. And even if you do know that person is going to underdress, it's still best practice to dress up. There's no harm in overdressing. Having said that, dressing up doesn't mean you need to wear the best brands. You don't need an Armani t-shirt. You don't need a Gucci bag. In fact, that is actually counterproductive because by wearing those brands on you, it makes you look arrogant. So all you have to do when dressing up is just wear fitting clothes. Not too loose, not too tight. And let's say you got an odd body shape. Always go semi-casual. Semi-casual is still accepted in 2020. In fact, I would like to say that's the new norm of things. Here's some tips. Let's say you got a gut. Wear a dark shirt and cover it with a coat. Do not button the coat. If you leave it, if you go to the side, you can't see your tummy. And let's say you got huge thighs. Wear jeans. No ripped jeans. Wear dark blue jeans, dark color jeans. Go for slim cut or carrot cut. Never go regular. I know a lot of my tips seem to be geared towards men because, let's face it, women understand what dressing up means. A lot of men can even forget to iron their t-shirts. So start off with dressing well. First impression matters. Tip number 2, get to know your audience. Now this is very important because during a session, you want to make sure you have people in there that are like-minded, that think like you. They will be your champions during the session. And in fact, this actually leads to tip number 3. But before that, how do you do those groundwork? Very simple. Research the attendees. Go online, check their LinkedIn, check their Facebook. You'll be amazed by what you can find into a person just by looking at their photos. And just from that, you would learn how to communicate with them. But let's say that's too much work. You could do is always go early to a meeting. Odds are the person that attends to you will be in that session. So take that time to break the ice, get to know the person, and let them get to know you so they're a bit more comfortable. Which now leads me to tip number 3. When starting your session, please start off with some sort of humor. Now this is very important, which is why I say it relates to point number 2. You don't want to be in a scenario whereby you make a joke, no one laughs. There's nothing more awkward than that. So to avoid that, get to know your audience so you know what type of jokes to pull. Rule of thumb, always joke about yourself. Can't go wrong with that. Humor is important because most of the people that attend that session have to, or they were told to attend. And by you creating some humor, it will create some sort of connection and automatically shift the mindset from them having to be there for them wanting to hear you out. Tip number 4, make time for Q&A. It can be during the session or even after the session. But what you want to do is encourage the audience to ask you questions. Think of it like you get a point every time you answer a question right, and your goal is to get 100%. But please, just because you're in the pursuit of answering all the questions right, do not lie. Do not be afraid to tell the participant that you will get back to them for questions you are not certain of. At the end of the day, by asking questions and answering questions is the best way to learn. And as you gain more and more experience, you'll be able to answer more and more questions. And that is how you build credibility. Your client needs to be certain that the person they're dealing with is trustworthy, knowledgeable, and accountable. Which leads me to the last tip. Tip number 5. Do not, and I stress it, do not argue with the client. I've seen so many Q&As go sour simply because individuals cannot agree on certain terminologies. At the end of the day, you have to look at yourself and ask, who's the one selling here? Is it the client selling or are you selling? And if the client fails to understand, that means you have failed to convince them. So take it upon yourself to immediately try and rephrase what you're trying to say. Rephrase it in terms that the clients may understand. Hence why I said doing the groundwork in tip number 2 is very important. And if you still fail at that point, learn how to just back off. At the end of the day, you need to remember your opinion doesn't matter. Unless, of course, your opinion was asked. Ever heard the saying, client is always right? I still think that's relevant today. So learn to convince, not force your opinion. And with that ends my video. 5 simple tips on how to ace your presentation. Of course, there's a lot more to talk about. And if you'd like to see a part 2 of this video, do drop a comment below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel to further motivate me to make more content like this. I hope what I had to share with you today is informative. Until then, good luck selling.